In the month of August, I spent a week in the beautiful Scandinavian country of Sweden. I got to visit the capital city of Stockholm and also spent lots of time enjoying the beautiful landscape with its lakes, woods, gardens, and many islands. Everything was glowing and bursting with abundance at the height of summer. Collecting fresh greens from the garden was one of my favorite rituals. I felt very inspired by all that beauty, and I had my sketchbook with me, some watercolor crayons, and I just started to sketch, to make little drawings of the old town in Stockholm, and then back again to this beautiful interplay of the sky, the land, and the water, which is just everywhere around you there. And so I ended up having all these little mini paintings, and I thought when I come back I will put them in a little art journal, maybe in a little travel journal. I felt just so happy there. So I had my mini paintings, I had a ton of beautiful photographs, and so this was my inspiration. And I got back home and I thought, so what can I do with this? Or what about creating a little art journal, incorporating everything that inspired me that I have, like photos and my mini paintings and a lot of collage material, which you can see here. So let me show you. I got this little booklet or little journal that was part of a magazine, and I covered the writing, the text on there with a gesso so that I can paint or collage on it, so that I just have a blank little journal to work with. And then I had printed out some of my favorite photos because I wanted to work with them somehow. So I have images of the lake, of this typical red Swedish house, of the garden, the boats and the water lilies, just some of my favorites. And I wasn't quite sure yet how to incorporate them, but I knew I wanted to do something with them in the book. I also printed out some of my mini paintings, like photos of my mini paintings. Here you see some of the originals. That was really fun. And I ended up not using these actually, not the originals anyways, because I thought they would be really pretty to put in little frames and hang them up all together. So that's definitely one beautiful collection of memories. We're very creative and fun and beautiful as a reminder of this trip. But let's get back to the travel art journal. So what else did I have? So all of these I collected in Sweden. Well, most of it anyways. So there are napkins in this blue. The blue is everywhere. And I particularly like this one, which has like writing on it, like the Swedish words, and it has a map of Stockholm, and you can see how there are all these little islands, and that's definitely something I'm going to use. This was from a very traditional crab eating that you do in Sweden in the month of August. So that was from our dinner. Not sure yet if I'm going to work with that. With this crab eating, we actually also had to sing little songs, so I have a printout of one of them. And then I have some more printouts from unsplash.com, just images with a travel theme that I might want to incorporate. Then I have some clippings from a Swedish newspaper just for the writing, some text just for this kind of visual. Then some receipts from museum entrances and things like that. and some more travel brochures from going on the ship and so forth. This is also a beautiful vintage map of Sweden, Scandinavia, and it's from a museum brochure, and I printed it because I loved it so much on this kind of semi-transparent vellum paper, because I love using them as collage material. And I have stickers, which I usually don't really use. These are quite cute with the travel theme again. So I just took them out to see if I might want to use them. Definitely want to use those tiny little ones there on the cover. Some more travel themed papers. And I also collected some beautiful wildflowers, some fern, and I pressed them, and they of course are very fragile, but let's see if I find a way to incorporate them as well. Yeah, this is just an image. It reminded me so much of my experience in Sweden. Yeah, so I also bought a postcard in an art shop and this little tag with one of my favorite symbols, the compass. So it's almost overwhelming. I usually have too much on the table, but these are all the options. And of course, I will use some mixed media. I have the Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons, which are just my favorites. And I will definitely use some acrylic paint. And yeah, so let's see what I can make with all of this. Now I'm halfway finished with the book and I just want to show you what I've got so far. So this is the cover where I used only collage and incorporated like 3D elements like this beautiful little mini Swedish flag. And for Stockholm, for the O, the letter O, which was missing, I used a little sticker with a compass, and I really like the cover. So this is the next, or let's say the first finished spread, incorporating some of my photos on the right of a scene in the old town of Stockholm. And then on the opposite, you see my painting of that same scene using the photo as a reference, and also a different photo reference, little mini painting sketch. And I used some acrylic paint to incorporate it into the background and some collage paper. And yeah, I really like it, and I try to do something that's fun and not too complicated. This is the garden scene. It incorporates this little house by the lake and also has a photocopy of one of my pictures of the garden. And I incorporated, like I extended the landscape and the sky with acrylic paint, which was so much fun. Just extending, like in repeating the little red flowers and the clouds in the sky. And then the next page is about the trip on the boat along the little coastline and all the beautiful islands. And I'm thinking what will go there. I would love to have either the fish or the little ship that we went on our trip. Yeah, I think the ship should go here. But the original, of course, I'm not going to use. I need to make a photocopy and have something that's a bit smaller to fit on the page. And here, I think the fish will go. This is a spread more dedicated to the wildlife, to the trees, to the animals. Yeah, and the ship, I think, will go there. And this is the last spread. I think this is going to be the final one that I have to complete. So on the left, you can see I did the same. It's the same principle. The middle part here is a photocopy of one of my photos. And the sky and the water is, yeah, actually I have underneath is a layer of a little paper napkin that creates a lot of texture. So I glued the photocopy and then painted on top with acrylic paint to have the sky and then the water. And I want to do the same on the left. So there's a little red house on the left, and I have this picture of me sitting in front of one, and it led right to on a little path towards this beautiful lake with the boats there. So I put that next to it, and now I have to finish it the same way, which I'm gonna do on camera now, so you can see what I'm doing. So here are my colors. I have titanium white, olive green, cyan blue, Prussian blue, then Hoeps green, and Viridian green. This is acrylic paint, and I used all kinds of different brands. So I have to do the sky here and a little bit of the greenery, and then extend the water of the lake and incorporate those darker shadows here. Yeah, so I start with a square brush and I just kind of dab and drag the brush. There's really no particular technique. I'm going for a very loose look, and you can see me now switching to using my hands. It's really more like finger painting because, like I said, I want something loose. I want something that feels kind of impressionistic, and I feel I can do that best with using my fingers. So I'm just mixing lighter blues with the darker blues just to get all the variations of that you can see in the sky, and I'm just rubbing it in basically into the edges where it meets the photocopy, the paper. I find I have also a little bit more control with my fingers. And then I'm gonna switch to the white and bring in some fun clouds. And again, I really enjoy just playing here, not trying to make anything too perfect, because then I will not have any fun. Yeah, I think that's it for the sky. So now I'm gonna continue. Actually, I still have to cut off. Most of these pages have some napkins underneath. That creates a really nice texture when I paint on top. Okay, moving on now to the bottom part, to where the lake is. So I'm starting with green, extending a little bit that kind of earthy and greenish touch there. Just the border between the land and the water. And I think the Hoeps green and a mix of the olive green works well. It's definitely more of a warm green. So if you like here, I'm using too much of the cold Viridian green. It doesn't matter, you can just paint over it. And then I'm just again like dabbing, making little marks with the brush to imitate like some of the leaves of the tree that's behind the house. Again, nothing too perfect, a little bit more impressionistic. And for the water, I'm using the darkest blue, the Prussian blue, again with a square brush. And again here it creates quite a lot of texture because of the um, the napkin that I have underneath. And on top of the napkin actually is a layer of gesso. So just dabbing along. And now again, the light going in with a small round brush now, and just applying a little bit of titanium white to create the light reflecting on the water. And I'm just using what I see in the photocopy on the right as my reference a little bit. And of course I have to bring in a little bit of the darker shadow. So let's see how I can mix that. It's kind of like a black would definitely be too harsh. Never use black. So I think I'm gonna try with some burnt umber. And then maybe mixing it with a little bit of the cool green. Trying to mix that color because this is way too warm. So let's see, making it dark but still like having a touch of a green. This is always fun experimenting, mixing colors. I think it works, but I have too much water on my brush, so it's not very opaque. It's not creating a really a solid layer of paint. It takes a while to get it darker. Yeah, so it's just some finishing touches now. I'm speeding up this last part. Not too exciting, but it just takes a little bit more work and the details here and there to finish it all off. And here is the finished journal. Let me know in the comment section which spread is your favorite. And then, because there were a few blank pages left, I just did some collaging. I used up some leftover paint. I included the postcard and a little tag. And I glued in some of the newspaper clippings and receipts from museum entrances and so forth. And just some Swedish words I was learning. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a very, very simple project, a very simple little book, and it's a beautiful memory of my trip. So hopefully you could find some inspiration for your own next trip on ways how to bring some of those beautiful impressions and memories back home in another form than just photos on your cell phone. I would love for you to leave me a like or a comment, and thanks so much for watching. Until next time.